Alright, so let's get started using Scratch. If you would and you want to follow along with this, that's fine. Go to the browser of your choice. I use Google Chrome myself. And I'm going to go up to the top here and we're going to type in the Scratch website, which is scratch.mit.edu. And when it comes up, you'll get a screen that looks something like this. Obviously, I'm filming this several weeks in advance of when you'll be doing this, and so these icons down here will look different when you do it. But this is the main Scratch website. We're going to go in pretty quickly here and get started with creating, but I want to just point out a little bit of this front page of the Scratch website. Notice that when you first come to the website, you get some featured projects, some things that Scratch that other developers in Scratch, other students of Scratch have shared and are being featured at the moment. And there's featured studios, and there's all sorts of little things that you can look at here. You'll remember that one of the things I mentioned in the previous video is that one of the things that Scratch was designed for is making it easy for students to share their work with each other. And so here's some stuff that somebody shared. I'm going to look at this one with the alphabet. This is kind of a neat little simple one. And so without knowing much about Scratch yet, I press this green flag to run. And this is just a simple thing where if I press with my cursor any one of these letters, so I say, gee, what is this letter?
K.
And you hopefully can hear that in the microphone.
J. C. F.
Right? And so this person has programmed this so that when you click on one of these squares, the cat down here says the letter, and you hear it, right? And so nice little simple program that a lower elementary school student might use when they're trying to learn their letters. And I also can this is harder to see on the screen, but I can press a key on my keyboard. So I'm going to press the letter C right now,
C.
and we'll press the A
A. T.
and the T, right? And so multiple ways that they've gotten this to work. I can do it both by interacting with my keyboard and by interacting with the squares on the screen. And what's really nice about Scratch is that not only can I see that and say, hey, that's cool, I wonder how they got that, how they made that work. I can come here to the upper right-hand corner where it says See Inside, and I can click on this, and it actually loads the program in the normal creation view, something you haven't seen yet, but that you're about to see. And I can go in and look at this code and see how they made this work. Okay, so that's just a little bit about Scratch, but let's look at how we actually get started with this ourselves. If you were bringing this up with students, and right now as I'm bringing it up with you and I want you to get started, we're going to come to this Create tab. And it takes a second to load, and we get Scratch that will load, and automatically we get over here on the side a little piece of information, a little tutorial panel, which I'm going to just dismiss. So we're going to press that X out of that so we don't have that tutorial panel. This is the main view of Scratch I want you to be seeing when you get started, and the main view that your students are going to want to see as they get started. And you'll notice that Scratch is basically divided up into 4 or 5 areas. The first area I want you to focus on is this upper left-hand corner here, and this is what we call the stage in Scratch. And in fact, what I want you to think about right now, I want you to get in your head this metaphor, that when you're working with Scratch, I don't want you to think about yourself as a computer programmer. I want you to think of yourself as a director. Director of a movie, and this is my sound stage. Maybe the director of a theatrical play. Doesn't matter what we go here with, but we have that idea of a director. And so that's the metaphor I'm going to continue to use as we work this course of you being a director. And so this is the stage where everything takes place. If I'm telling an animated story, this is where the stage where that story takes place. If I'm writing a game, well, it takes place on a stage, and this is that stage. Okay? Well, going with that metaphor then, I have stages and I have actors. And so down below the stage is the place where my actors are kept. And so right now I've got a play, a movie that only has one actor in it, whose name is Sprite 1, is this cat. But as you'll see as we move on, there can be more than one actor in here. I mean, as we go on, we're going to make all sorts of stories with multiple characters, multiple sprites, and they're kept down here in this area. Okay? Similarly, there's an area off here next to that where we can control the actual stage itself. And so we'll look at that in the next couple of modules. Now, as the director of a movie or a play or whatever, my main job is to give direction to my actors. And so over here on the right side of the stage is that spot where I give the commands, write the script that my actors are going to follow. And between the stage and where that script goes is this center area which contains the list of all of the commands that I can give to my actors. And what's really nice about the way Scratch is laid out is that there's a series of menus that are color coordinated. And so right now you'll see that the motion menu is what has been selected, and there's a series of darker blue blocks, all of which deal with motion of this particular actor. And I can, the purple menu has to do with looks, and there's sort of a hot pink that deals with sound, and there are events and control, and there's some, there's all sorts of things here. But what's nice about this is everything is done color coded. And so if we go back to that alphabet program we just looked at a minute ago, you'll notice that when I was looking at that alphabet program, I could look at that person's code and see color coded blocks. And if I ever find a block that I've never seen before in somebody else's code, I can say, well, I wonder where that comes from. Oh, it's a hot pink block. It must be related to the sound tab, and I can come over into that menu. And so I can select through all of the commands that I want and find what I'm looking for. And again, you'll remember that I just said to you a minute or two ago that what's nice about Scratch is you only have to be able to recognize commands. You don't have to be able to recall. I don't have to remember every command. I just have to say, gee, what I want my cat to do right now is related to motion. It's going to be somewhere here in this small menu of motion blocks. And it may not fit all on the screen. There may be a little scroll bar to get you down to a few more at the bottom. But this is everything you can possibly do with Scratch. And that's the very beginnings of how we work with Scratch.